Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Journey of an Awakening Spirit. This is Kathleen Flanagan, and I'm your host. Today, I don't know. It's been a day. I have decided that I thought I was supposed to have a guest today, and actually, it's next week when Brianna's coming on, so that is my bad. And I think a lot has to do with just a lot of changes that are going on around the planet. I know that in the last month, I have been in a very quiet place, really reconnecting with myself, dealing with a lot of stuff that's been going on. And one of the main things that I experienced in the last month was when the water heater went out and how I went into a trauma place, and there was nothing I could do about it except for deal with it. And what it did is it shut down everything. And I contribute that the detox that I was on caused it as well. So I became very quiet and very silent. I really assessed a lot of things in my life at that point. And one of these is the show. I mean, I'm going to keep doing the show, but it's going to be different. And that's going to probably start after Brianna comes on. And then I'm going to start a totally different type of format. What caused this was how I felt during this past month of when this little girl came up and I was having this war, this battle in my head. Like the body is saying, I need help. And the spirit is saying, hurry up and get your poop in a group, so to speak. And it was like I was this outsider watching this fight between my mind and my body. Now, I know I want to talk about this because body, mind, spirit alignment, we all think it means something different. But it really is a body, mind, spirit connection, because what I was feeling at that point was the spirit is wanting to go because it knows how to flit around the universe. It's happy to flit around the universe. And then there's this body that is dense and it can't flit around the universe. It is very solid on the earth. We are planted here. This is our learning school. This is what we chose to do and learn how to remember and trust, because we look on the outside. We don't look inside. So if we're miserable, it's because we're looking on the outside. And I have been just as guilty of this as anybody else has. I've realized that during this period of time, I was always looking for what's going on the outside, and I had to come back to the inside. And this month, I think, really drove it home for me. I had to be quiet. I had to be still. I had to get my nervous system down. I walked away from a lot of things for a lot of reasons. I didn't go away. I just walked away for a little while because I needed to recenter. And what I discovered is that I'm becoming very particular, I would say. I know how I want things to be. I know how I want to act. I know who I want around me. I don't want just anybody to come around and be around me. And I'm going to tell you something really funny, and you can get behind this or not. I don't really care. Is 2 days ago, I was having breakfast, and a friend of mine who had passed away several years ago just popped up. And this is what went on. She's sitting here going, hey, what are you doing? Kind of thing. Like, let's go play. And I'm like, okay. And it was, what the frig are you doing here? I'm not interested in you. You know, you're dead. I'm not going to play, because I understand my relationship with this woman was that to her, spirituality was just a game. And it's not a game. And it never was a game. And it never will be a game. There's a lot of truth behind this. And so when she was coming around saying, well, I'll help you do this, and I can show you this, and I can answer all your questions and all this. And I just said, no, I'm not interested. Because anybody that actually was spiritual that passed on, and even if I wanted to talk to him, we never talk about it. It's just something that's not done. So I said no, and I'm not interested. You're dead. We're done. We're over. I've forgiven you for what happened in this lifetime. I understand it. And Thank you for giving me the gift that you gave me, but we're done and I don't intend to see you again. And that was the end of it. And then as I'm having this conversation in my mind with her, I'm sitting here going, oh God, I look like I'm freaking nuts. I'm having this conversation with somebody who's not even in the same room with me. And I get it. Because what I realize is that I've become very clear. And I haven't thought about this person. There was no reason for her to come in. There was nothing. And I knew her energy anyways, because we had been in many lifetimes together. So I knew her energy. And it was just the most bizarre thing to me to actually have an experience like that. And when I was talking to a friend yesterday, she said, we don't have time for this. It's not a game. We're here. It's heavy duty stuff that we're coming on. The world is changing. Everything is changing. And what she had reminded me to do a couple of weeks ago, because I just felt so lost, was just talk to the Father. Because I said, I'm not getting answers. I'm not getting anything. I was just felt like I wasn't even alive, almost like everybody left me. That's not the case. It's never the case. It was just a feeling, and I understood what was going on. So I know that if you feel this way, I understand, and you're not crazy when you feel it. And she said, just talk to the Father, because he's the one who guides everyone. And so I did. I started talking to the Father, and I'm here to do whatever I'm supposed to do. I don't know what to do. This is what I would like. And I just started just talking. It was that form of prayer, of just asking for whatever it was and then sitting and listening. Now, I may not have heard the words verbally, and I may not be getting information the way that I'm used to getting. But what I did come to realize is, if it's not coming from the Father, I don't want to hear you. And I don't care. It has nothing to do with anyone or anything. It's not like I disregard the angels or any of the hierarchy, the archangels or any of them. I'm not discarding them. I'm here for a bigger purpose. We all are. And if you're feeling lost and if you're feeling confused, talk to the Father. And then just listen, because he will guide and he will bring things. And since I've been doing this, I think it's probably been about 2 weeks now, I think miracles are starting to happen. There's like signs of movement in a way. And the fact that I feel like I've come back to me is huge, because for a while there, I just felt like I was lost inside of myself. Like I didn't understand. And I know part of this had to do with that little girl, because the war was with her. My inner dialogue was all like a little 5-6-year-old kid who has been traumatized. And I had to honor that part of myself. So even though I've been doing deep healing and I've allowed the little girl to be who she is and let her move in that direction, and to release her and let her know that we're not the same anymore. This is something different. This was allowing her, and because the detox caused a lot of this too, I believe, because we carry a lot of stuff in ourselves. And when we have excess weight and fat on us, and parasites and bugs in our body, which we naturally have bugs anyways, but it mimics. And then we store that. And so these are memories from childhood. Now, that I think that's a little extreme, but they're saying that most of this stuff is 20, 30 years. It doesn't matter. It had to be released. I had to allow her to be her. So when I was saying I was watching this dialogue between me and Spirit at the time, there was also the little girl having her conversation of wanting to be safe and protected. It doesn't matter what it was. Yes, I thought I was crazy. It felt crazy, but it was also humorous. And take everything that's going on in your life, take it with a grain of salt. Talk to somebody if you need to talk to somebody. There are people that are out there that can help you navigate this. And, you know, most people thought I was just crazy anyways, and I'm used to that, so it didn't bother me that much. What I had to do is understand that I needed to just be okay with where I was. I trusted that I was where I was supposed to be. I trusted that it was time to release things that were still in my body that I didn't know, old thought forms, old memories, because we carry everything. Our ego is what goes and takes us. That's what remembers. That's why when we say body, mind, spirit alignment, we're never going to be a 100% in alignment, but we can stay as close to it as possible. I want to go really high. That means I have to go really deep. I'm doing some deep, dark work. And when you're doing work like that, you just have to trust. And I've done this long enough in my life to know that I'll get on the other side, because I always do. And what's even better is that it's getting there faster. Because it doesn't feel good, but I just be with it. I'm okay with it. I still move forward, very small baby steps. I keep moving forward. I keep doing what it is, but I'm resting. And I watched a video that there are 7 kinds of rest, and I swear to God, all 7 of them hit, because I go to bed 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, whatever time I'd go to bed, and I'd get 8 hours and I would feel refreshed. And as the day progressed, it got a little bit more, I got tired. Now, we were under rain for a while, and thank God we needed rain here in Colorado. But the weather really affected a lot of my mood at that time, and I observed that. And it was okay. If the sun was out, I was happier. If it was cloudy, I was a little more dismal. I still moved. I still did the things I had to do, and I still rested. Sal's been gone for a month. He comes home tomorrow. Yippee, I'm so happy because he's miserable. It's just been challenging, but he's the one who chose to go for a month. And the other thing I observed was my resistance to this, because I was very resistant of him leaving for a month. I knew he wouldn't do well. I knew he didn't like it. I didn't like it. And I was very resistant, and I was angry. And I make no qualms about where I was at with that. And then I watched myself surrender. And then I found myself at peace. It was a fast month. It really went by really fast. Probably faster than I realized, but at the same time, it almost felt slow, because on a daily basis, trying to get my body back to where it was and wondering if I was ever going to get back there, I did. About 2 days ago, I felt like I was back on myself again, that I was back to being normal, of what normal is for me. But it's a deeper, it's a quieter, peaceful, it's different. Like I'm grounding in this new energy of me, of what I'm doing, of what I'm asking for, of why I'm moving and where I'm supposed to go. I don't have 100% clarity, and you never do in baby steps. You never know where you're going. You have an idea of where you want to go, but you don't know how to do it, because this is the co-creation process. Do what you can with what you have, and then wait. And obviously my body went through a lot in the 90-day detox, a lot more than I realized. My body is still changing, because now I'm integrating this whole new part of me. I don't crave sugar. I don't crave salt. I don't crave wine. I don't crave any of that. I don't know what I want to eat yet, but that's not unusual for me anymore. But I'm not wanting those foods. I'm wanting things that make me feel good, that makes my body feel good. If I feel foggy, I eat berries, because berries are great for the brain. I eat organic. I have always, but it's like, yes, the last 2 days I was out working in my garden and I just ground it in. And I just was like, I don't know what I want to eat. So I had cottage cheese and yogurt. That was what I ate. That was it. And I was fine. So I'm trusting more of what it is that I'm looking for or what I need or what I want, because that's where it comes from. And when I can be that person, then I go out into my community and it's like, okay, let's try this on and see if this works. Look at my new background that I've created. My website is going in for a major overhaul too. That's what happened is I went deeper in to bring more of me in. See, I love the fact over here I have the Merkaba. It's a geometric pattern, yes, but it's a Merkaba, okay? Then I have over here where it's there and now it's enlightened with the lotus flower and the rocks. I mean, to me, this is so cool of just the dark into the light. It's a different version of the warrior princess, but I've always been that. You have always been that spiritual warrior. I have another cool background, which is a little different of my book background that was made. That's going to be used for other things. I think I was supposed to use it for this one, but that's okay. I like this one too. But I just want to say that I'm moving. These are signs that I'm changing. I've gone deeper. I've gotten clearer with my message. There's a lot coming in. There's a lot changing. There's a lot more information. I'm going to be doing more trainings as the months go on. I'm going to give you tools on how to navigate through this, because it's important that we learn how to navigate through these changing waters, and they are changing. And one of the things that I say all the time, and I mean this with my whole heart, is you've got to stop and you've got to breathe and you've got to give yourself permission. I can't tell you how hard it was to be out in the world off and on working. I was glad to be working, but watching the people, the way they drive, it's like, oh my God, why didn't you just leave earlier instead of doing 90 miles an hour on a highway that's not even moving that fast? And you just bless their hearts. You just bless them and think, wow, what's going on? Because it's like you feel like you're in survival mode, like you're protecting your life. You have to be on alert 24/7 when you're in the road anymore, because it's crazy. People are crazy. And if that's not an indication that something's going on the planet, I don't know what it is. I mean, courtesy, you don't see a lot of that anymore. You don't see a lot of anything. And my attitude is I need to bring compassion and love and peace to the world, because that's what we need right now. We need to just come together and be human beings that we're accepting, because we're all in this together. And I don't know how people are surviving right now. When I had to pay $5.15 a gallon to put in my gas tank, I almost died. It was like, what the hell? You go in and you have hardly anything in your grocery store and you got a $300 food bill and water's going up and utilities are going up. I mean, the corporate greed is enough to scare you. So what do? I go inside and trust that I'm going to be taken care of. Because it's overwhelming to me. It's overwhelming. I've survived a lot of my life already. I can survive this. But I have to get myself readjusted to what's happening and just go back and just know and trust that everything's fine. And that's what I'm going to start talking and teaching you more about, how to do those things, because it's those little things that make the biggest changes in your life. And you may not see it until one day something happens and you reflect and go, oh my God, because I'm light years from where I used to be, light years. And I'm helping somebody in a course that she's doing. I'm helping her with the beta test. And the one thing is that she's trying to teach people how to understand their emotions, name their emotions, the story that goes behind it, everything I talk about. And the one thing is like, when she asks questions, it's like, I don't remember what I do because I've spent the last 5 years diligently rewiring my brain. I don't remember what I thought. I don't remember what my response actions were. Do I have paradigms show up? Yes. Am I triggered? Yes. But how I navigate through the world now is so different because I rewired my brain, and we all have the capacity to rewire our brain. So I wanted to let you know that, if you really want to get started with some of this, you can also go and check out my books on Amazon.com. And I am offering that if you bought the trilogy for $50, and that includes the shipping, they would all be autographed to you or whomever you want. Because these books actually do talk about how to navigate, how to start waking up and remembering who you are and where you're going in the world. And that's really important because we need a manual and a guidance. And these do it. They talk about what goes on. And these are very emotionally written books. I mean, this is everything that went on. And if you're interested, then feel free to go either to my KathleenMFlanagan.com site to get this, or you can just buy them on Amazon as well. And I'm also you can also go and on the Kathleen M. Flanagan site and download the Light Activation Guide, which will be a very simple steps to start getting yourself back into a quiet place to where you can calm yourself down. So I would recommend going there just to try it on, just to see if this fits for you and if it works for you. And if this is something that feels good to you, then you can always come to my school community, which is I Am the Light Sanctuary, and you can just check it out. I mean, you don't have to do anything. It's free to join right now, and just come in and just look around and see if this is something. But it's for people like us that need somebody to just talk to. It's for, excuse me, it's for the woman who's out there making things happen and is feeling lost, like she forgot who she was. She's losing herself along the way, as so many of us have done it in the past. And we just don't want to continue to lose that way. So I want to thank you for joining me today. And if you want to keep up with what's going on, feel free to like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. If this helped you in any way, feel free to reach out. I would love to have a chat with you. I do have a call that you can do if you just needed somebody to talk to. I'm here for you on that as well. Excuse me. And next week, I have Brianna Myers coming in to talk about quantum healing. This time we might get this one right. So anyways, I want to thank you again for joining me, and I will see all of you next Tuesday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And from a heart to yours, I hope you have a fabulous week.